take a look at the market last week. We'll be looking at how the Mpc meeting, which is currently ongoing in Abuja, will impact on the market as well. But just before we get to that conversation, let's take a look at the numbers. Yes, last week, the all-share index and market capitalization depreciated by 0.33% to close the week at 47,282.67 basis point and 25.48 trillion naira respectively. Similarly, other indices finished lower, with the exception of NGX Merit Value, Lotus 2 and the NGX Industrial Goods Indices, which appreciated by 0.76%, 0.12 and 0.14% respectively. So a total turnover of about 2.44 billion units of shares worth about 20.65 billion naira in about 28,000 deals traded this week, last week rather, by investors on the floor of the exchange. But if you're trading in the top three equities, where FCMB Group, you also have E-Transact International PLC and Fidelity Bank, measured by volume and accounted for about 1.47 billion units of shares worth about 5.06 billion naira in about 1,000 deals, contributed about 60.12%. So that's what you have in the market. But let's take a look at the top five gainers for the week. You have PZQs and you have UACN PLC. The MPF Microfinance Bank PLC is there. RT Briscoe PLC among the top five gainers for the week. EcoBank Transactional Incorporated top it in the top five chart there. The top five decliners, if you look at the flip side now, you have Cornerstone Insurance PLC, you have Square Nigeria PLC, you have MRSC Oil Nigeria PLC, Keja Hotel PLC, Red Star Express PLC were among the top five decliners for the week there. But let's make sense of this now. But let's first begin from the Mpc meeting before we get to market today. Ms. Ambrose Amodion, Chief Research Officer, Investor Consulting Limited, joins me now. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Always on the program.
Yep.
Let me begin by asking you, yes, the Mpc is currently on now. This is the second time they will be meeting this year. What are your expectations and what is likely to change this time?
You know, if you talk of change, I don't expect any change, at this meeting.
You mean you don't expect that there will be a disruption in the monetary policy rate?
When we say that the MPR, which measure the interest rate, the minimum interest rate in the economy, that is where you have moved, drop it from 13.5 to 11.5. That was September 2020 to date. I remain on that, 11.5. For me, this is not a time for them to adjust or to temper anything there for now.
Why?
Why they should do this? One, the global economy and also what we're seeing locally here or in world here is changing. And for you to sustain that kind of momentum, you need to also look at where it's going before you can adjust. Just like I tell you that if you really want to enter inside water, you want to take your leg to take first before. Now they are seeing a lot of volatility coming from what is happening in Ukraine. Other climate are adjusting their interest rate, but it doesn't mean because others are adjusting that we need to, because we have different climate and different local economic situation. For our own here, we are not having war. Also, our economy has just been recovering, but the recovery has not been so strong, but fragile. Then if you kind of adjust your interest rate at this moment, you're going to kind of deflate recovery we are seeing so far. For me, what they should do now, and also if you look at the body movement of CBN, it shows that they're not going to adjust to it, because as at the weekend now, they kind of reduce the interest rate for the critical sector from 9% to 5%. That should send signal to whoever that is watching that. If they can do that, they know that the intervention they did is what have sustained the economy to where we are now. If they should kind of adjust anything up, it's going to be like. Also look at the rate of banks lending to the public. They've adjusted what we call loan to deposit from 60% to 65%. And if you check the bank's result that we released so far for 2021, so there is improvement in banks lending to the public, which is good. But only that the cost of lending also have dropped from 13 point something, which is the minimum, down to 11. That means we are getting cheaper from that. Despite some angle, it's not cheaper. But looking at the MPR, if you have cheaper no interest now from, or even from the bank. But I know that in Nigeria before now, your interest to pay when collecting from commercial bank is around 28%, all together, both the management and everything. But now it has dropped us around that 23, 24. That means you can see the impact of the adjustment from 13.5 to 11. For me, with this body language, I saw in last week, especially from at the weekend, that they move the intervention rate, the special sector the intervention were power, manufacturing, healthcare, and the agriculture.
Right.
If that's done on that sector, and this sector are the one that support the economy, if they decide to kind of move it from 9% to 5%, adjusting the NPR now, for me at this meeting is is very slim. That's why I said nothing will change until from let's say the second half of the year. We have seen how far this Russia and Ukraine influence on the global economy will go. That will determine whether we should adjust. Also, don't forget that this is also like a pre-election year. By middle of this year, we'll still electoral activities coming here and there. Their fund will come out from where they are hiding because all these politicians, they want to spend money for the election. Then, if they are adjusting rate, then we can also reason with them. But now, I think this is not the time. Also, don't forget that the growth we have seen so far in the economy is because we are matching it to a negative position. It is this 2022 that we know whether economy has recovered because we want to match this 2022 against what happened in 2021. In 2021, we saw kind of GDP 5% growth, 3% growth. That was against the negative year of 2020. Now we are now in 2022. We want to benchmark it against them. That means that will tell us where economy. For me, it is too early for them to adjust. And which I said, I don't expect them to do anything. I'd rather they should see a way they can even encourage more fund so that they can sustain. Because if you adjust rate, automatically you're going to tie the economy, unemployment will start going up at the same time, and everything will just change. For that, I think they should balance it.
You talked about some critical sectors like manufacturing, agri, and what have you there that you talk about the fact that the CBN has adjusted, this rate for this sector and has kind of given them a kind of a rebate. But then again, if you look at the growth we've witnessed in the last quarter, it would seem that for some of these sectors, we've not seen significant growth, even though we've witnessed a CBN intervention. How do you think this rate or this new development by CBN, considering some of these sectors or giving preferences to some of these sectors, will impact the economy further?
No, actually, if you said you didn't see, I'm surprised. If you look at the GDP, I'll tell you, agriculture sector has been part of.
No, I said significantly.
Yeah,
for instance, agriculture contributed 23% in the last quarter to the economy, to the overall GDP.
Okay.
And so one will say, okay, we're supposed to have more numbers from these sectors, given a huge intervention from CBN.
Yeah, actually, I just said it dropped from 9% to 5%. If you have seen an agriculture contributing about 25% in GDP, now that has dropped to 5%, you should expect what should be subsequently, because it said as from February 28, go for that means to last from 2023. Let's see how they're going to play out. But don't forget that the telecom sector also is also one of the powerful agent that is pushing the GDP.
Right.
And don't forget the manufacturing is coming up. If not that the purchasing power of many Nigerians are not too strong, I would say that sector. But if you look at the numbers that are monitored from that sector, you can see little improvement on them. Also, the energy where they intervene, and also the healthcare. Healthcare has improved tremendously. I'll tell you, many Nigerians, even the president, most of them don't go abroad again. That's why even our president is going abroad, but many of them don't go because our healthcare here is becoming consider gradual improvement in our healthcare. For me, it's a good one. If they can do more by bringing it down, that means these sectors will have access to cheaper funds. But I will encourage them, let them do also more to other sectors. Yes, the banks, they've increased it from 60% to well, we need more so that we have liquidity to drive the economy. Really, if we want to really stand, despite the war that we're seeing in Ukraine and Russia, we need to put our local economy in that recovering trajectory that's been for a long time so that we can come into regrowth.
So you are saying we shouldn't expect the monetary policy rate to change in this meeting?
No.
Okay, let's move away from there now. But again, even talking about the Mpc meeting, what are some of the, because you've given us some takes and some gives as well on this issue. So what will be the impact of it on the equities market as a whole?
Actually, also, what happened last week?
Or maybe I should put the question, how is the market reacting to the fact that there is Mpc meeting going on and you have said that it's unlikely to change?
No, one thing is that everyone knows that it's going on. But if you look at different angles, they have no expectation. I'll tell you the line that I mean that this is not going to change are more than those that I think that for me it is too early for it to change. That is one. But if you look at what the the debt management did last week, saying that we're going to Europe, we're going to do Eurobond.
Right.
That Eurobond we're doing, it tells you that yes, we need money to kind of finance our budget. If they're getting it cheaper there, it tells you that that money coming to the economy will show up our reserve. If you show our reserve, that will also attract foreign investors because we not have enough reserve because of your borrowing, in pounds. You get it? Then also, it means that also the government also will borrow less locally. If they put less locally, that means all those high rates we're going to, or yield we're going to expect in the fixed income market will not be there immediately. It might be there, but not immediately. And also, this will also have positive influence or impact on equity market. If now, at the end of this MPT meeting, this thing is retained, the interest rate, MPR is retained, don't forget that we have seen an uptick in inflation. If you are holding your money in fixed income market, we are seeing uptick in inflation. Automatically, you're going to have more negative return in the fixed income market. That means if we see adjustment, that means more funds will likely to
flow in the
equity
direction
where
of
we have a good yields. And at the same time, most companies that has also what we call inelastic demand in their product, where even when you increase your price, demand will still be there. You can see now what price of bread it is today, but many families are still eating bread because it's the same food for every home. That's something you adjust price, people will not quickly run away from that the demand board. Right. There's some goods that you adjust price, people will drop it to affect your profit at the end of the day. But when you are adjusting price, you are pushing your price to consumer, and they are still making money. You see, they are kind of stock as investor. That's why in our coming master class in April, I put it down that how to enter those sectors that has good defensive and also some group of stock that has good defensive performance that you can also, even when the market is oscillating or vacillating, you can know where you can position and also make money at the end of the day. For me, the outcome of MPC meeting, if the rate is retained, should be a plus for equity market.
Interesting. Should be a plus for equities market. All right, let's take a look at the market performance for last week and see the market depreciated in the week by about 0.33% last week, bringing the market capitalization about 25.48 trillion naira respectively. So what do you think will change this time? This is a new week, and of course, is a week of MPC meeting.
Actually, we have seen that last week market was down. So there's a negative sentiment in the market last week. We have a negative breadth and all. But the good thing is that same last week, some company released their number, especially the one that came from Access Bank. Even the dividend payout, 70 kobo, people were trying to, they are kind of, saying the payout was very low and market reacted to it. But I will tell you, if you look at the company, the bank number is a good number that one should also look at, because that kind of bank has two categories of classification. One is a value stock, at the time a growth stock. And when you are in that state, you are a growth company, you are a value company, you don't pay out dividend the way others should pay, because you are expanding, kind of acquiring more business so that you can part at the bottom line at the end of the day. Because when you are building capacity, it tells that you want to get to where you are going. At the end of the day, it starts reflecting on your bottom line. And you see, if you look at the bank gross earning for the 2021, it's the best in the bank, almost $1 trillion, 900 and something billion naira for just one single financial year. If a bank can attain that, it can.
You're talking about Access Bank?
Yeah, can equally also move its bottom line when it slows down in acquisition or expansion. But now, because they're expanding, you see, that is why their bottom line is not too attractive. But still, they grow their bottom line with 51%, which is okay for me. Because if you look at the 900 something billion against the 160, that's about a profit margin of about 16 point something percent, which is okay. But for me, investors are reacting that because it gives you those that have eyes to see that there's a value in this kind of bank for future investment. That's why I said that kind of attitude or investors sentiment last week was missed. But at the end of the day, for this week we're entering now, being that today and tomorrow is MPC meeting, see, market will be there today, tomorrow. But towards the end of tomorrow, where there will be no outcome, where there will be communication from the MC meeting, if it's on, you can see the market can equally break out again from tomorrow. But let's watch. But the good thing is that this is the last month of the first quarter. And every last month of the month, what we call quarterly dressing, where traders or fund managers have to push, kind of make their stock to close higher so they can earn a good rate. Because every quarter they make reports. It's not like every month. That is why every quarter, as an investor, towards the end of the quarter, you should know how to position ahead of dressing so that you can make. For me, also don't forget that every company that has December as year end also have deadline to submit results 31st March. That means within the week after this MPC, when those start hitting the market and there are positive beat expectation, it will change the trend. That's why I said No, our market is still very, very strong. Yes, it pulled back yesterday, last week, sorry, about 0.33%, which is okay. But I see that from here to the end of the month or end of the quarter, we might see a rebound in the market, especially if what is also happening in East Europe slow down, the P stock also resume again and starting to be a plus for our market. But the good thing is that Nigeria has a plan. We are going somewhere. If at the end of
I see that you're optimistic, and the fact that, I mean, you're in the market and you're seeing how the investors are reacting to it. Well, interesting. Let's look at the top 5 gainers for the week, last week, closing March 18. Now, PZ came first, topping the first, the top 5 performer of the week. With about 1 naira 25 gain. That's about 17.01% change already. So the stock opened with about 7 naira 35 kobo at the beginning of the week to close at 8 naira 60 kobo at the end of the week. What do you think this stock has going for it?
Yeah, actually, I would say this is a combine of market sentiment, also expectation of Q3 number of PZ. Because PZ had the May as year end already, end of February is the end of the third quarter. We expect that result will be the market between now and end of especially third quarter result. And when it comes, it gives an insight what is expected of this company at the end of the year, knowing that every investment is against expectation. When you see their Q3 number, you now start forecasting for their full year. I say that May is the end of their financial year for PZ. That means the right we are seeing now is people trying to position ahead of that result that will come in May, knowing that their Q3 will be in the market between now and the end of 31st.
So what else should we be expecting in terms of investors rally for this stock? Very weak or very strong?
Which one for
the PZ?
For those that have entered earlier, because this is a third quarter they're expecting, that can take profit. But when they pull back again, that is why as a trader, don't just follow market trend, have a plan. Have your stop loss. When you have made money, sell off and wait to come back and enter. You don't say because the stock is going up, unless you have another strategy that's telling you that this stock continue to go up, which is part of what I want to teach them in the common master class, how to take profit. Many Nigerian investors, I tell you that they know when to buy, don't know when to take profit. But now in kind of this stock, like you just mentioned, PZ, if you know that it's going up and you have a trend to support that it's going to go higher, you can't be taking your profit, little by little, little by little. We're not selling outrightly. That is why in that comment master class, we're going to teach them exactly how to take profit and also how to make money in the next 90 days.
Interesting. Perhaps I'll be part of that class for me to take some lessons there. But let's look at it, because investors perhaps want to really get to know exactly how to navigate this kind of market. Sometimes you have a volatile market, and then you have a market that is rallying, and investors are taking position. But let's look at this UACN PLC gaining about 1 naira 55 kobo to close at 12 naira 20 kobo as at last week. That's about 14.55% at the close of the week. What's going to change this week? This is a new week for the stock of UACN.
For me, investors should take profit in that stock. Yes, there's a new law from CAN that yes, if you have authorized shares and we have not covered your authorized share, we are likely to give bonus or anything to kind of recapitalize everything you have. In the market, there are kind of rumor of bonus from one company or another, depending on your outstanding numbers of shares and also your authorized shares. Then, if that is the most is moving in USC, for me, investors should be very careful, because when also they recapitalize their unauthorized share, it's going to enlarge their share cap, their outstanding numbers of shares. If their performance is not moving in that direction, it's going to slow down their performance. That means for me, if you are really in that stock, you have made good money, nothing stop you by taking profit. When it comes down again, you buy. I tell you that these stocks goes up and down. You buy, you sell into an up market, and you buy into a down market. That is where it should be. For me, for this week, I expect profit taking to hit that stock.
Give us a sense of the Nigerian Police Force Microfinance Bank PLC, which also pulled about 10% in terms of performance at the close of last week to close at 21 kobo. I beg your pardon, 2 naira 31 kobo. After getting about 21 kobo at the end of the week. You have RT Briscoe PLC in that order with about 7 kobo gain at the end of the week to close at 80 kobo. You also have EcoBank Transactional Incorporated. So look at some of these stocks. There'll be some rally for these stocks in past trading sessions. So what is likely to change this time? Do you think they can sustain this particular rally this week?
Yeah, for ETI, which you don't say Equity Transnational, it's likely to sustain the tempo. While that of Police Microfinance, the only microfinance listed until that are also doing well, it's likely to sustain that. But for RB School, for me, it's just a sentiment. And when there's sentiment in the market for a particular stock, it goes up and down. Profit takers can hit on this stock to today now.
What kind of sentiment you think is driving this type of, what you're seeing?
This is just, I'll call it momentum investing, because there's no fundamental to support this. But technically, it's looking good. And when technically it's looking good, you take an advantage of getting meet your target, you still profit and what? Because everybody says it's against the future. And once you are entering a stock, you have your profit target. Once you hit it, nothing stops you from because it's kind of thought that when everybody is selling, it becomes a problem for you to sell your product. Then when you see rally, that's the time to sell. Because I tell you, no fundamental that was supporting this movement. That means anybody that wants to sell now and all of them want to leave the market, it becomes a problem who will buy. But now the vision is still there, party is still going on. It's time for it to, because when the party is over, everybody wants to leave the party. Nobody will pick each other's position.
So you are saying that we should expect a kind of the investors pulling out of selling off their shares.
Every investor in the market or trader has different objectives. Once you meet your target in this kind of stuff, you take your profits.
Okay, let's look at it. Top 5 decliners for the week. Interestingly, Cornerstone Insurance PLC is back in the red. But prior to this, we've seen a bit of rally in that stock, for that stock. But last week, there was a change of story with about 21.62% decline there, or drop there, to about 58 kobo at the end of the week. Also, you have Squab Nigeria PLC, I believe, dropping about 45 or shedding about 45 kobo to close at 2.38 kobo. You also have MRS Nigeria PLC dropping about 1.35 kobo to close at 12.20 kobo. So these are some of the stocks we're having in the red. So what's investors' position for this? Should they buy or it's time to sell?
No, already you can see that stock like Cornerstone Insurance and other insurance stocks before now have been on the top gainers. Then what you are seeing is just pure profit taking in insurance stocks. Believing that yes, after they pull back, now they are doing more recapitalization in the sector, it might likely come up again. People are taking advantage of the merger and acquisition that is expected in that industry because of the acquisition and all those going on. That's for insurance. But for others there, I think investors should just play with caution and just watch, especially when a stock pull back and there's nothing to drive it up. You have to wait until you see a trigger. Because it doesn't mean that when a company pull back, that means that's the end of that stock. No. To pull back to attract investors. But you as a trader that use a technician, you need to see a trigger first before you jump in. But the stock pulling back is good. They create opportunity to buy. But for me, at this stock that I just mentioned, I need to wait before I jump in.
How much confidence is the insurance sector throwing up? Looking at the fact that you said there's reform and, of course, consolidation in that now. How much of confidence is it throwing up in the market for investors to take advantage of?
Yeah, every investment, again, I always say that if you have information, among the insurance companies, there are ones that are capitalized, that have done share reconstruction, you see value, you can start positioning them. But for me, recapitalization will make the sector become more robust, and that also will help them to have a capital to do business, so that most of the business that's supposed to be earning will not go out of the shore of Nigeria to outside. Because I think there are some insurance policy, or they want to go to abroad to do. But if our insurance companies are robust enough to do that, they can kind of, that means the recapitalization is a plus for them, so that they can do bigger business, and do bigger business that will also reflect on their bottom line at the end of the day. I see potential in that sector will go into the future.
Let's wrap up with this, Mr. Ambrose. What do you think would drive the market? What is likely to drive the market for today? Yes, you talk about the fact that the market perhaps may want to remain dull in reaction to the ongoing Mpc meeting. How strong would that drive the market?
No, actually, if you look at the market opening this morning, I think the market opening is just dull already. The market has just trying to pull back again for today. But that's why the market will not gain.
I don't know if you've seen the numbers. How much is the market? What's the market doing at the moment?
Yeah, before I came in, the market was dropping about 0.13 already. I tell you that market is red, and some stocks are still flat. As I said earlier, because of this Mpc meeting, we want to wait today. Tomorrow, when they are doing their communique from at the end of the meeting, to trigger either on at the midweek, or even when filler comes to the market tomorrow of their decision, it might change but for me, I expect a mixed sentiment for this week. But for today, let's watch the market.
I think we need to leave it there. Ambrose Omodion, Chief Research Officer, Investor Consulting Limited. Thank you for coming on Business
Thanks for having me.